TC, woo! What a game tonight at Owen Field. I'm Barry Trammell, along with OU writer Ryan Aber. On Saturday night, the Sooners stay in the driver's seat of the Big 12 Conference, but by the closest of margins. 30-29, they survive TCU. Ryan, it shouldn't have been that close, but in the end, Oklahoma's got to feel fortunate to win. Stephen Parker makes the big play at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary Patterson decided to go for two, especially with the game coming up for them on Friday at the end. And Stephen Parker had to make a decision on that two-point conversion, drop back and stick with the wide receiver who was going to be open, or run up and try to make a play on the quarterback. He ran up, tried to make a play on the quarterback, leapt in the air, and batted the ball away and sent the Sooners to a win.
Well, I was thinking Gary Patterson made the wrong decision. Clearly, TCU was dominant in the fourth quarter, had the better offense, had the better quarterback play, and yet he went for the sudden victory with the third-team quarterback, Bram Kohlhausen, a guy I frankly had never heard of until last week and barely heard of him last week. But this became a battle of backup quarterbacks. Trevor Knight takes over for Baker Mayfield at halftime. Mayfield has the concussion-like symptoms. And frankly, Trevor Knight just looked like a ghost of himself from the prime that we remember from the Sugar Bowl days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Wasn't the Sugar Bowl quarterback. Luckily for OU, they were able to get Samaje Perine back after an ankle injury in the second half, or things really could have gotten bad. Perine breaks off the 72-yard touchdown, but they really couldn't move the ball. They had a unfortunate turnover that led to TCU being able to get right back in the game. I thought the poor decision from Gary Patterson wasn't that two-point conversion, but the two-point conversion earlier in the second half when they were down by 10 to try to cut it to 8 to make it a one-score game. But that's really early to try to do that.
Yeah, it is. I think what Gary Patterson saw was that this was going to be a defensive game and thought maybe just one more touchdown might be all we get or might be all we need. So I can sort of go with him on that. But this clearly became just a sort of a schizo type of game where nothing went well for the Sooners if Perine wasn't running the ball. And in the fourth, the defense held up fine except for a couple of big plays until the fourth quarter. TCU gets 16 points on its last three possessions. The Stoops brothers can't be pleased with the way their defense wilted late.
No, not at all. And it was just seemed like feast or famine on the back end, which is so much of what we saw last year, although they didn't make those plays at the end of games last year like Stephen Parker made tonight. But Zack Sanchez got burned on the final touchdown, had some other issues on the back end. But Sanchez comes up with 2 interceptions. Ahmad Thomas comes up with another. And OU is able to escape with a win going into Bedlam.
No style points, but on this Saturday in November, that's not a bad thing. 2 unbeatens go down. Sooners still in the thick of the college football playoff race. Next week, Bedlam in Stillwater for the Big 12 title. Stay tuned for further OU football coverage here on News OK and every day in the Oklahoman.